Thank you very much. It's very exciting to be able to have a proper community energy conference because, I don't know, a lot of your faces have seen a few of each other at different events, but the reality is that to have our own big conference where we can actually say this is the beginning of something is great. But it's the beginning. I mean, there's only 21 women in here, and our communities are made of more than that. I really feel like, and there's 105 people in here, so 20%. So, and on the national scale, community energy is not even up around what? Anybody make a guess? 7%? 1%? 2% of the national amount of average that the UK makes. So we have a lot of work to do. But I'm really pleased to say that, to have the chance and the opportunity to share with you what an amazing team of people have been doing not even 2 miles south of here. And there are fellow directors here from Repowering, Andre and Jason in the audience. And there are people who've been working on the projects, and even Andrew Nebe, who worked on one of the projects that we had going on our second project. So there's a lot of people who have been the actual foundation stones. So I'm very proud to be here. I'm very thankful for being included. It's so big, but it's nice. All right. Anyway, so Repowering is an idea which came out of Brixton Energy and Brixton Transition and community energy, and really the problems that we were all facing. We were all getting fed up with things. And it was about how do we create local energy, but not just about our community energy networks and looking with supply, but actually about local energy and resilience. So how do we create local energy in its two forms, in community energy and in renewable energy? So who we are, what we do, our vision, what we can bring, and our experience. And as it's a case study, a lot of times we've been talking about what we've done with Brixton Energy, and there are a bunch of different people, and there are groups here today who have been working on projects throughout London. But as a team, Repowering is a non-profit organization. Okay, so we specialize in renewable energy, but the reality was we felt it would be really important to be the change we want to be. So be a cooperative, not a limited company, and try to bring some ideas with this, but be a cooperative, not even be a charity, and help other cooperatives set up as cooperatives, and then work and co-produce it with other community groups. So the system, what we've been trying to facilitate with other community groups and local councils, is that we all come together under that Rochdale one vote, one share idea and deliver it to the community, and then we work together on finding a location, raising the money, and then with the dividends from the sale of the energy into the building, onto the national grid, and the feed-in tariff, which it will go, but it is what's keeping us all afloat. That return can then go back into the local community and not only pay dividends to investors, but to what we've called a community fund, so directly to the local people, and they can decide how that's put out, and then finally to, well, the back-end services of administration and legal and financial sort of checking up on the systems. Allowing people to be a part of that and choose what they want to do with things. So local people who've had a chance to work on the project, then coming back and saying, you know, I really don't think that this year the dividend into the community fund should go to the local training for draft proofing anymore. A lot of the houses are done. I think it should go towards making another solar panel making workshop, having another course on curtain lining workshops. That's what's important to our community, because these legacy funds that we're trying to create with individual communities for 20 years are ring-fenced from government, from the changing tides of 2- and 4-year decisions. Or even, big business we need more generation, we need more storage. But those decisions are made on massive scales, and they need to be rolled out over 10, 15 years, and ideas about giving communities a little bit can come and go. But making ring-fenced community funds is integral. And when you have that, communities want to reinvest. Communities are made of people like you and I, but the communities that we've been working with in Brixton are made of people who are angry, and they're not black, they're not white, they're not Hispanic, they're just faceless, no-number people who want to make a difference and don't feel they can. And when the riots happened in Brixton, 2 things I found interesting. We had more people signing up to get involved with community energy, and the community gardening stuff that we were working on simultaneously, no one ripped up any of the gardening stuff. No one ripped up any of the plants. They went right past it and hit all of the storefront properties, the big multinationals. And that's the big difference here. We're talking about limited companies who have fiduciary responsibility as their sole, highest return in the shortest amount of time, as opposed to cooperatives which work directly with community. And people feel they can make a difference, and they don't have to hide their face and become violent. They can get integrated into a system. And that system is well-being. And in Brixton, it was because it's the 5th most deprived borough, the 25th in England. But it also gave people that chance. Buy in, invest in it. You have extra money in your pension? Okay, fine, great. That's middle class and upper class, great. If you have no money and no time and you want to support it and get involved, you can. And I think building inclusive systems for everybody to be a part of is integral to that. And that's what we were trying to build. And we didn't get it right the first time. Brixton Energy Solar 1, we only had one person. Kevin Wilson was doing work experience, and he did 2 weeks work internship with us doing the installations, and we wanted more. And by the last project, which just closed 2 weeks ago, we had 15 people from the local area, 7 kids from the local state, and they're either back in school, summer employment. So we're getting better at it. We don't know everything, but with an amazing team of people and communicating with people that are in this room, there's a row right there of people who have been working on this and working with us with Repowering to make these things happen every step of the way. So we can learn from everybody in the room, not just from the people, but it starts with the engagement with our constituents, with our citizens, with our neighbors. I lived in Brixton for 13 years prior to being a part of starting this. And when we went there and said, we have a great idea, they came back and said, good, but number 1 should be jobs, not putting shiny solar panels on the roof. Let's do energy switching surveys. Let's do curtain lining workshops. And Andre and I sat there trying to figure out how to make solar panels inclusive and had sloshing around with liquid plastics to make it work. And slowly we got a system that worked. So your community will have things that they particularly want. And they will have moments like this, aha moments, where the zeitgeist of that community just pops and everybody gets involved. And it's just simple things like going into their homes, going into their community, going into the fate, and not starting something new, but being a part of something that's already there. Not starting a new energy company, but working directly with some of the people that are there to make it happen. We're not all big bad guys. We have to make this work because we have no other opportunity, no other chance but to work with everybody in this room to make this happen. And it starts with the people in our local community, not just the big idea, but right directly with simple draft proofing and reducing of energy. And then selling solar panels and CHP become really easy when you have local people knocking on the doors and going to homes where grandmas have known them since they were little kids, pulling on their ears when they were stealing candy from the store outside their home. And that's what it's going to do. It would develop resilient communities, not have a financial background or have a good mechanism. That's all important to make sure that the legals are there. No, resilient communities, the little ones. And then those build into big communities, and then we have a resilient city, and then we have a resilient nation, and then we have a resilient UK, Europe. But it starts right there with silly, modest roofs that then fill up with 35 kilowatts, that all these buildings that are around us, right here, effectively, There are 7 trillion pounds of housing stock in the UK. 2 trillion pounds of them are homeowner-owned, and 3 trillion pounds of them are social housing. And when we start to think about that, all of the money that we need is right there. There are fantastic needs for banks to come in to subsidize some of these projects, but a lot of what we need, we already have it. We don't have to go running around. We can just come to each other and work to make that happen. And there's room for everybody to give loans and to give support, but there's also the resource in our communities and the people that are right next to you to make this work is right there. I bet you that points. 37, 50 kilowatt, 75, 30 kilowatt, 60 kilowatt with a couple other buildings. This could be a CHP. I mean, these are just simple buildings that everybody runs right past. Those are massive assets that we're not tapping. We were trying to break it down into that, but I want to know how many minutes do I have left, or am I done? Done? Okay, 1 minute? Okay. Just to say that it's a social, a financial, and an environmental return. And you can read that bottom right corner and say, that's how we were saying, let's make a practical start to each individual project we co-produce with the community group. We have the big vision, I'm sure everybody in this room shares that vision, of a resilient home and a place that they want to live. But that's what we were trying to do. And that's how you can deliver it right there and now. We've done it. We did it 1, 2, and we just did it 3rd time. And we're partnering up with people as much as we can, because to get the scale we need to have it happen as soon as possible. Shemsa, this is the last thought. Shemsa is a great example of why I get up at 7 on a Saturday morning and get on my bike and come over here, is because after all the work that a lot of the people in this room had done to make the projects happen, and there was a lot of hurdles, we reduced her energy bill in her home, and there's solar panels on her roof, and her kids went to the solar panel making workshop, and she felt engaged. She saved money, but her first thing out of her mouth when we came after a year, she said, "This project was so amazing. I want to share. I hope it can be shared with other estates. Not, I feel I've saved money." And I think that's the thing we have to keep, our value system. Everybody in here needs to remember that this is about a resilient community, and maintaining that, the legal, the financial, the IT, the technical, the grid networks and everything, we can make those hurdles. Some are going to take a year, some are going to take 4 years, but as long as we maintain the local people around us, we can make it there. Thank you.